Good morning, everybody. Even though it might not be morning by the time this video comes out, recording again on the webcam. I'm actually liking doing the pods here. It's a little bit less work when I'm not having to set up my camera and put the lighting and, do all this crazy stuff when all I really want to do is just give my thoughts out. And, I feel like maybe this is probably going to be the best way to go to do pods. It's going to be a lot faster. It's just more efficient for me to drop pods. But I want to talk about what happened in this Nuggets Thunder awesome game. Just another blown game by the Thunder, and it's a 113-104 just triumph by the Denver Nuggets at home, and just another fumble by this team, and in pretty bad fashion. Similar to game one, though you could probably argue it was probably worse in this game. Just kind of blowing it really all the way through the end of this game, and especially in overtime. We'll talk about that in a second. I have some notes here, so forgive me if I'm looking down because I just, had to write a lot of stuff down in this pod. So it's rough one if you're a Thunder fan. OKC scoring 2 points in overtime. That was very hard stuff to watch. Incredible game by the Denver Nuggets. Awesome response by them. Credit to them, credit to their defense, credit to the coaching, credit to the guys that haven't shown up, and then obviously showing up in just the most timely fashion. And I'm just going to start with the Denver Nuggets side of things, and then we'll kind of trickle down to the Thunder stuff. So, Denver Nuggets, man, I had it written down in the middle of like the first half, and I was like, okay, this is the Michael Porter Jr. game, right? And then I'm like, all right, this is the Jamal Murray game, and then this is the Aaron Gordon game, and it's like, you know what? All three of these guys, they responded, they showed up big time, hit big time shot after big time shot after big time shot. Aaron Gordon again, late in the game, huge three. I'm going to get into the Aaron Gordon thing. There's going to be a little piece of that. But look, man, Michael Porter Jr., he absolutely killed it. I was talking about, hey, if he's going to be having this production because of the shoulder thing, that's going to be rough for the Denver Nuggets. Couldn't have shown up at a better time if you're the Nuggets. Incredible game by Michael Porter Jr., displaying what this guy is capable of even through the injuries. And by the way, we know all the stuff about this guy. He's got the back problems. He's got the energy problems, right? We know about the things people knock him for with the mentality and the approach to the game. But this was a game that the Nuggets have been reminded of why they gave him such a bag. The Jamal Murray game, obviously, Murray just matching Shai shot for shot for shot. And this was the Jamal Murray game that I was saying that we were due for, right? It was only a matter of time before Jamal Murray gave us a banger of a game. And it comes at the same time as Michael Porter Jr. and Aaron Gordon, which I keep talking about. And then you look, man, like Aaron Gordon, man, and I have it here, I wanted to write down some things about Aaron Gordon. His evolution as a player and just overall career path should be revisited when it's all said and done, like when this guy retires. This is a guy that was drafted 4th overall for the Orlando Magic, and I remember when he was drafted by the Magic. This was a guy that was like, he was supposed to be that next, like, franchise piece, the really important player to get things rolling for the Magic, and after 6 to 7 years there, you could have said, kind of written him off and said, you know what, good player, always having the potential because of the athleticism, the size, the way he moves with the ball in his hands as well. But he was kind of falling into this tier of, okay, great athlete, not a good shooter. Just needs more polish on offense. And this is probably what he's going to look like 7 years into his career. Then he gets traded to the Denver Nuggets, and you take away that pressure of, hey, you need to be the guy, and you're not the second guy. You're going to be the third guy in this whole thing. And, maybe sometimes you could even argue the fourth guy. And all of a sudden, he fits excellently next to Jokic, playing in that dunker spot on their championship run, doing the defense, doing the hard things, scrapping, fighting for rebounds, boxing out, doing all the hard work, knocking down, like, big shots occasionally, but then this season, 43% on the regular season from three, a tremendous jump, and just speaks to the work that this guy has put in to his jump shooting. And to any people out there, Thunder fans that have enjoyed watching these pods because of obviously me doing a lot of Thunder stuff, we're going to get to the Thunder stuff. I need to be fair and acknowledge the greatness of Aaron Gordon as a player. Just if you're looking for someone that has developed their game, look no further than Aaron Gordon of the Denver Nuggets. Just awesome stuff, man. Shout out to Aaron Gordon. Incredible postseason, incredible career. All right. So, and by the way, the high school hoop mixtape, if you guys have not watched that, just go on YouTube. Like, maybe pause this if you want. Go on YouTube and put hoop mixtape Aaron Gordon highlight tape or something along those lines. It's just imagine him in a high school jersey doing the shit that he's doing in the NBA, just dunking on everyone, crossing people over, the whole thing. He looked awesome. And there's a reason he went 4th overall in the draft. All right, let's get to the OKC stuff before I talk about some of the other things Denver Nuggets related as well. So it's the rare Jokic bad game. And it's the one game that you can't afford to lose. If you're an opposing team and Jokic goes, let me check his numbers here. I have the stats pulled up. Jokic goes 8 for 25, 0 for 10 from 3. He's got 8 turnovers. And look, man, the 20 points, the 16 rebounds, the 6 assists, the 2 steals, the 2 blocks. This is a good, awful game for Jokic, right? Like, this is how great this guy really is. Like, he has a horrendous shooting night. He's not taking care of the ball. Credit to the Thunder defense, which obviously, if you're good at taking care of the ball, the Thunder are going to definitely try to make that not a thing. But look, man, Jokic, if he goes 8 for 25, you got to win this game if you're the Thunder. And that's also a credit to, I don't want to discredit the rest of the Nuggets players that made this bad Jokic game a possibility to win. And obviously they achieved that. But also just being the Thunder, you got to close this game. Similar to game 1. You got to close this game. And I want to get to, the Chet Holmgren thing. This guy, man, he starts the game on an absolute heater. And I'm thinking, this is like a 30-point Chet Holmgren game incoming, which I was not expecting because of, the kind of physicality that this series has demanded of him. But he opens up the first quarter. He's catching a lob in transition. He finds Jokic in the corner, and I'll put some of these attempts on the video so you guys can see. He's just putting the ball down, getting to the rim, reverse layup, looking incredibly comfortable. And then second half, 0 for 6 from the field, vanishes offensively. That's a killer, man. That's a killer. And look, man, for all the things Chet does on defense, I can't completely knock him for the offense because at the same time, he is the third option on this team. And, he really holds it down with the rebounds and the defense. I mean, look at what Chet did in terms of not shooting efficiency because Jesus Christ, 7 for 19 from the field, 1 for 6 from 3. That is rough. But 18 points, 3 blocks, a steal, 16 rebounds from your third option guy. Chet did his job, in my opinion. He vanished in the second half. He needed to hit some shots. But let's get to the meat and potatoes of this whole thing, okay? Jalen Williams, I was talking about, he had a good game 2, had an awful game 1. I'm waiting for the game that he's due to show why he is a rising star in this league and why I had him third team All-NBA over Tyrese Halliburton, which isn't looking like a good take. But, maybe I should have put Hallie over Triple J, Jaren Jackson Jr. I think that would have been more, that would have been a more solid take. But look, man, he shows up this game and he looks unstoppable. He looks comfortable. He looks just awesome. Okay, 11 for 21 from the field, 43% from 3. He's playing his hard defense that you usually see from him. He's making 7 of 8 of his free throws, and then the 32 points. What more can you ask of Jalen Williams? And this was a game that, man, they were due for a Jalen Williams just banger. They got the banger, and they really let it go, man. And I want to get to the man of the hour from game 2, and that's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, man. Shai, bro, incredible player, deserving of an MVP, even though I've been solid on this stance. I think it's Jokic, and I've been saying that all year. It's not a postseason kind of like revisionist history or hindsight type of thing. I've been very solid on that take. But look, man, fourth quarter comes along. 1 for 8 from the field, 1 for 4 from 3. A lot of these are bad shot selections, and a lot of them are great Nuggets defense. I cannot just bail out Shai by saying you're taking bad shots. He is taking really bad shots, but the Nuggets defense also deserves a ton of credit. And look, man, 18 points, 13 rebounds, 7 assists. He gets the 2 steals. He only turned it over once in this game, which is crazy to think because, you kind of, 44 minutes from this guy. I mean, he does it on both ends. He's passing the ball when he needs to, but part of being this like upper echelon first team All-NBA player, which 100% he's locked into, is also showing up in the crunch time. You cannot go 1 for 8 from the field in the fourth quarter and no field goal attempts in overtime. That can't happen if you want to be considered an all-time great. And when it's all said and done, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is going to be a Hall of Famer. I don't think that's a hot take at all. But 7 misses in a row. I think that was the fourth quarter stat that I wrote down. That's rough, man. And look, my main concern with Chet going into this postseason is he's falling in love with the three-pointers. And that's not what made Shai great. What makes Shai great is the playing off 2 feet, the 15 feet and in game, the driving game, just that first step is excellent, and just his footwork, his ability to play through contact, draw fouls, finish at the rim, the mid-range excellence. And when I say excellence, I feel like I can't say that enough. How excellent this guy, how efficient this guy can shoot from the mid-range. It's incredible stuff to watch. But you can't be this guy that goes away from what you're good at for whatever reason. Maybe you're feeling like they're packing the paint really well, and Denver was doing that very well. They were forcing Shai to either taking a bad shot or you're going to have to pass it off and trust your teammates. And, man, again, I was very disappointed in how Shai finished this game. He approached the game very well, didn't finish well, and we have to hold him accountable for that. Very Jason Tatum-y with the let me just take these perimeter shots and kind of bail the Denver Nuggets out. And here's another stat I kind of took down here. He's missed 11 of his last 15 3-pointers. So you gotta get back to what you do best, Shai. And here's the thing, man. Like when this game finished, people were like, man, they're throwing all this blame on Hartenstein for that crazy air ball push shot that he had. I think it was on the left. What was that? Like a baseline 2, kind of that awkward range where he just missed really badly. I think he was 0 for 3 in the overtime, with all those push shots. And people are knocking him like, man, that's not a good shot, this and that. The broadcast team talked about, I think they said he's making that push shot at like 80% efficiency. It's such hindsight stuff, or like just such like recency, like a victim of the moment type of thing, when all of a sudden everyone wants to pile on that shot attempt and his shot selection when it comes to that push shot. It's fallen for him his whole career. Like, this is what he's good at. And if you want to make him the scapegoat for a horrendous fourth quarter and overtime that Shai had, then you guys can go ahead and do that. I'm not going to accept that. And I am going to hold Hartenstein accountable for some, dumb decisions and some bad fouls too. But at the same time, man, he is given the ball, for 3 attempts that he normally makes, not making excuses for Hartenstein. But at the same time, let's not avoid the real conversation, which is Shai did not close this game. Okay, so that's enough, going at Shai and going at, his inability to close in this fourth quarter, because he has been incredible all year long. And, he's been clutch too, man. So, this is, everyone gets some mulligans. And, Shai, I guess he definitely deserves some mulligans. And Jason Tatum on the other end, this guy is in some trouble. I mean, game 3 is today, 3:30, I think is the time. Can't wait to watch that one. Let's get to, what else do I have written down here? What else could I talk about in this game? Yeah, one last thing I kind of wanted to touch on in this game. Lou Dort hasn't shot it well in the postseason, has had a rough experience offensively. But if anyone's going to knock Lou Dort, you guys got to remember, you guys cannot forget that what he's doing on the defensive end is incredibly taxing. There is no resting with Lou Dort when he's on the floor. He's on the floor for 33 minutes and 55 seconds. For 33 minutes and 55 seconds, this man is fighting for rebounds, boxing out, getting deflections, getting steals, blocking shit, guarding Jokic on post-ups when he's got to show for help. He's in help. He's guarding on the ball. He's full court pressing. I would love to see how many players in the NBA do all of that at an elite level. Not just do it, because you could tell someone, go guard Jokic and get cooked for 30 points, and you're not doing it at an elite level. Go press someone full court, and you're not doing it at an elite level. He's doing all that defensive stuff at an all-time high level. And that's incredibly taxing. You know, there's a reason that there are such few two-way stars in the NBA. And Lou Dort is a star in his role. He's excellent at defense. And the fact that he is able to put together some awesome offensive nights and great shooting, despite all of that taxing on defense, is incredible in itself. So I can't really attack Lou Dort for having these bad shooting nights. I think he's in like the 20s percentage-wise from three. I'm not entirely sure. I got to go back and look at that. You know what? I have it open, actually. Let's check it out. Yeah, 26.7% from three. He's 12 for 45 in the playoffs right now. So definitely, you know, going through it. But again, for what they ask of him defensively, and look, man, you could say, hey, man, he was doing it in the regular season. Playing hard defense, knocking down shots. You're absolutely right. This is a playoff series. There's a game every other day, and it's against Nikola Jokic and the very big, muscly Denver Nuggets. So, you know, postseason, regular season, two completely different animals. So I expect the Thunder to definitely show up. You saw Shai smiling after that loss, walking off the floor. That was really funny to see. But also, you know, I love Shai's cool mentality and just the Thunder in general. Love their approach after losses. They don't lose a lot of games after they lose. Clearly, you saw that after game one. But at some point, you know, it's very Jimmy Butler-esque in terms of like, you know, laughing off a bad loss. So, you know, you commend him for keeping his cool and looking confident and things like that. But that's only half the battle, right? You also have to come into next game and show up, right? And I fully expect the Thunder to walk away from Denver, going back home with a series tied 2-2. Shout out to the Denver Nuggets. This was an incredible game by them. Incredible coaching job by David Adelman. Good coaching job by Mark Daigneault in general, being able to change decisions game to game. But yeah, that's going to do it for this one. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I will catch you guys on the next one.